Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Lisa?
As required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975, adequate notice this meeting was provided on January 12th, 2023 by providing notice to the Express Times and Hunter County Democrat, posting a notice in the building on the same date. Mayor Barsney?
Here.
Mr. Baylor?
Here.
Mr. Beam?
Here.
Mr. Kenyuk? Ms. McDermott? Here.
Like allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America. And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have anything to say at the beginning, or we just gonna make the Joe? Do you have anything you want to say, Shannon? I guess we'll go right to you, Joe.
For the DPW for 2023 proposed budget, operating expenses and stuff, I not proposing any increases to what I had for 2022. For the O&A, and also for the, also, you remember last year, to bring my budget back up to where it was, the Greenwich Township School lawn maintenance budget was turned over for my use. What I did provide there was took that budget and just put it into how I spent it, if it was in the line, my budget line items. To break it down to show where that would fit into the budget if it was all in my budget under the DPW. And also the proposed use of that budget for 2023. I don't know if you have any questions. I know some of my and I want to call them sub-budget line items went over, but where I had surpluses and others helped cover it. And then at the end of the year, when I caught up with some asphalt repairs, we ended up having to use some of the reimbursement money from open space for our hours used. And just for 2022, I made a, I don't know what they call it, a document that I keep track of the hours we work per day through the week. Open space reimbursed the DPW O&E and or salary $43,373 for hours worked in all the parks. Thomas Stewart Park, Reinhardt Park, Stecker Park, anything that's considered open space. I even counted the mowing of the Wyndham Farm detention areas because that's open space land. And that's also the farm lease land that they are receiving the farm lease money from. So that came back and gave my salary, the salary budget DPW, I think I seen there was $157,000 transfer from that to help pay for other items. And also, which overtime was down last year and part-time help hours were down from what we had allotted. And this year here, it's even down even more. As a matter of fact, this quarter, last night we had everybody are 6 hours, 2 hours per guy, and the one other guy had 5 hours of overtime so far this year. That's it. But February is our snowiest month.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we'll stand there. Also, I only proposed in my salt budget, usually I put 1,000 tons, but the new rate for the county bid went up $11 and some odd cents to $78 a ton from $67.80. So $10.20 some cents it went up a ton. So I cut it down to 600 ton, but that's only estimate. And I don't know. I got 75 ton coming, but our salt shed will be full. So that was still left over from the end of last year. I'm still working off of that. If you wanna call it bank or whatever,
Right.
that's all bought, paid for right now.
And I imagine that $11 a ton increase is all shipping, trucking.
Oh, I'm sure
Sure,
it is.
right.
And also what I've seen in being here that long, if it's a light year, they increase the prices. Then the years that you use a lot, the price comes down. Cause the volume changes, I guess what they do. And it's been like that. That's how it fluctuates when it's light. And matter of fact, I think last year I didn't use the whole 1,000 ton. And everybody else was a little bit light and there was no waiting for the loads, but the years they use a lot, then somewhere along the line, they drop the price because they expect, I guess, the volume. And almost, I guess, like a market thing. But like I said, I believe that the trucking and the fuel is the big one, what the $10 extra was. Salaries and, for the DPW, I do have that in there. And I put in for, looking for 4% increase for, everyone. The first page would probably, I would call our hard numbers. That's our regular salaries and or the guys that are hourly. And also the two, I have the yearly part-timer position and the seasonal summertime, part-timer that are hard numbers, I would say. 30 hours that they would work through the year, to that point. Break time, no overtime or anything. The other sheets gets into, which I would call our variables, which we don't know. And even right now, I put in budget, usually I put in, by this time, we know we're busy winter and stuff, we usually average to start out at 200 hours overtime for the 3 full-time guys and get it down to 150 or 100, way to work number. I've started out with 75, but that it might be risky at that point. And also the part-time help, I haven't used, one of them came in yesterday just to run a plow truck for 3 hours. So I only got 3 hours of part-time help. Last year, as you see underneath 2022, that I just went through the timesheets and the hours I submitted for the winter help. That is everybody total 267 hours. For 2022.
That's full and part-time.
No, that's just the part-time,
Just the part-time.
snowplow guys
Okay.
for that line item there. And the grand total salaries, including the part-time, if we budget for that and the overtime amounts there. Capital wise, I have, and I wanna, I'll step back a little bit, out of the school money, I allotted. For the sweeper, which is top of my capital, which we took that money from last year and put towards the trucks, the 2 new trucks because of the increase. I was looking to put of the school money, if we don't do the capital this year, the sweeper does need some repairs, and to use about $10,000 of that 10,500 to get some repairs done to the street sweeper. It needs brakes, it needs all the brake lines replaced, and they're all hydraulic driven hubs. That's above the tools that I have, and the expertise has to go back down to the dealership, which is Timmerman down in White House. For that has to be trucked down, but it needs, we gotta do some work, either if it's a capital line item or we take it out of the DPW as a maintenance item for the fleet that the equipment. But my capital plan also, I have broke down to a 1 to 3 year deal, and then 3 to 5 out. Hopefully to make it either smaller chunks and work at it at that point. From there, but as I listed it there, 1 to 3, the sweeper is at the top of the list there.
Anybody have any questions, Joe? Paul, you good with this?
Yeah, no, Joe and I have already sat down and,
That's what I figured, so.
right,
Really?
you know, this is just step one of the big picture yet, you know?
Joe, I have a question.
Sure.
On the capital, for the leaf collection, picking up of loose leaves, did you meet?
I
with
didn't
people
get
for-
no. Me and Paul talked, and there's some used opportunities or rebuilt, remanufactured sucker
Okay,
setups and stuff, but he hasn't got back to me with prices, and we're working on that. Hopefully we've got something to put into there. I'm looking for something a little bit bigger to hook the trucks go along, not something that hooks on a tailgate or something like that. That's just a little bit, that there would be way too time consuming. We're on a larger scale.
I agree.
The only other thing, for the budget season here, and I don't know, Lisa, if I should bring this up. I have reviewed the garbage and the, one of the other services is we have to buy fire code, annually have our fire alarm system and stuff. And I found savings in there. I got the third quote just come in tonight from the existing Republic, and they're still high.
These are included in your packet because we were hoping to
Yeah,
take
so-
action tonight.
Sanico came in as the low quote, and I'm downsizing the size of the containers, recycling and garbage from 8 cubic yards to 6. But for the year in garbage haul will save us $4,475, including the recycling.
Okay.
All right, because I keep an eye on the garbage there, and there's probably about 3-4 times a year, the 8 cubic yards get full. But it averages about half through the vents there, so we could live with a 6 cubic yard, and if we pile a little bit, and if I have to keep it in a truck on the side till they empty it and put it in the dumpster, we don't have mounds and mounds of garbage there.
Right.
And I think we can manage that, and also along with that, I did for the dumpsters for cleanup. And they also, Sanico also is the least expensive. And that I got quotes from Sanico, LMR, and our existing Republic came in. I would like since we prepay our bill and Republic's just come in, I'd like to get an okay to move on that change for February 1 and get the dumpster in here to start that savings now
Okay.
for the next 11 months.
You just need a motion for that. Right?
Yep.
So
For Sanico.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it, then we go to Sanico, right?
Excellent.
Okay, Mayor Barsney?
Yeah.
Mr. Baylor?
Yeah.
Mr. Bean?
Yeah.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
And the other thing is
Yeah.
the fire alarm system. Kistler O'Brien charged us like over $2,000. I looked in the Morris County Co-op, there's an outfit right in Hunterdon County. And that came in about, I'm gonna say $1,600. That's coming in, checking all the smoke alarms, doing their tests, and it includes our annual fire extinguisher services and stuff like that. Any extra that refills or out of service would be extra, but that's just to check there. There's another, I think in the area of $600 to $800 savings going that way with that service.
Is that,
And that's already on the bid through the Morris County Co-op, so. If you want to make a motion to do it that way to make sure, but it's bid out And we are members of the co-op.
And who are they? What's their name?
What's that?
Protective measures.
What is their name?
Protective
Their
measures.
name is Protective Measures and Securities.
Mhm. I make the motion, we go to protective liquid securities and fire system and leave Tesla O'Brien fire protection.
Do you want a second?
I'll second.
Any other questions, comments? No, please, roll call.
Mayor Barsney?
Yeah.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Bean?
Yes.
Ms.
I
McDermott?
can- I can- Sure, I can find that.
Joe, no reason why the squad can't reach out to these people, even if it's not through the co-op, chances are they'd be,
I think so. I'm gonna talk to them about the fire company extinguishers.
okay, yeah, no, yeah, cause I mean,
Yeah.
that's a,
Yeah.
I don't wanna make it sound like it's a huge bill, but it's a bill.
Yeah, no, I pay $700 or $800 just for my annual service on all the fire extinguishers I got fire.
Yeah, every bit of that, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe they can do it all once while they're here, and I'll save that, what's called charge.
Mike,
I'll talk to them for both the organizations. Just separately invoiced.
because geez, I think we have 6 in the building and 4 in rigs.
Oh, yes.
That it for DPW then?
Yep,
Anybody have any questions or anything before we move on to the fire company? Okay.
fire company is, I guess, about simple also is to maintain our $75,000 appropriation. I also noted in there what our insurance bills are that we do
Yes. and
hand
no.
over.
Mhm.
And at the end of last year, when we talked about it, we talked about the aerial truck. And to do a refurb, estimates about $500,000. And unfortunate or not, we took about another we took another $23,775 off of it because the transmission had to be rebuilt in that truck last year. And that was a cost of $23,775 that come out of the fire company operating expense. So that would be one less major part that would have to be rebuilt in that refurb.
That 500,000, you figure we'll get 12 to 15 years out of it? in the
Yeah.
return?
That was when talking with the rep from Pierce. The only thing he gave me bad news is Pierce is so backlogged because all the towns are buying fire trucks using their American Rescue Act.
Mhm.
Custom or just a basic custom truck is taking 2 years to come off the line now.
Mhm.
What he calls a fully customized truck is 3 years now. They took all their people that did the refurbishing and put them into the main manufacturing line to help build new fire trucks.
So,
So it'd be outside, probably going through fire and safety, the Pierce rep, and let them do a lot of the major work there. And then going to a body shop to fix body panels and this and that and painting it up.
Where were they
But-
actually go to?
What's
Where
that?
would they actually go to physically to repair that? The truck, where does it go to?
Fire and safety could do a lot of it.
Where they at?
They're down in South Plainfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if Pierce was still up and doing refurb, and like I said, we could look into, there might be others that do refurb and can do everything instead of going here, there and everywhere. That would be the thought plan and then probably get a hard number. This was just a walk around number and stuff and to cover this. I don't think we would be anywhere near that or what needs to be done to that. But like I said, brand new ones are pushing $2 million now.
so I'm just kind of curious, Joe. I know that the tower that you have right now, the town got that and it was already a used piece, correct? And just what year is it and how many miles are on it, or is it based on hours?
2001. 2001 mileage, that was a city truck. The mileage is high. I'm gonna say it would come from Boulder, Colorado. Career department. It has something like 80,000 on it. The motor we had rebuilt in 2019, that had over 10,000 hours. And just to give you a rough estimate, the calculation is 60 times every 1 hour equals like 60 miles. So that was 660 660,000 miles on that as a runtime. That's how that calculates
Okay.
out. So the engine was due to be rebuilt. And when it blew up, we actually piston blew apart is what happened on it. So we had that rebuilt. So it does have some miles, but it also is a good sound piece. And I don't think the magic number is if you start getting into over half the cost of replacing it, it's not a well worth investment.
Four figures is a quarter.
Yes. Yeah. And that's it for the fire company. I just gave you I just also attached what I put together as a budget and what we actually spent. And we
Right.
all know about the building and what we have expended from our building fund to keep, with the architect and engineers and stuff moving forward.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on the fire company? You have anything else we need from you, Joe? Fire or DPW? Anything else? Emergency management?
Yeah, well, that's so, I blend a little bit if I need something DPW or something like that to take care of that. There's not much involved in it.
Yeah,
Except for I'm gonna have to, Lisa might have to take a month and increase her copies because the annex is almost complete and that's a book. 4 or 5 books I gotta print this thick,
no,
and then I'll be looking for your signature and some writer's cramp.
Bob's gotta sign all 4,000 pages of that.
No, just the front, but there's enough annexes.
that's why I have a stamp.
Stamps. Like these 2 meetings that are on.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I guess,
Oh, I got one other question, and it wasn't part of Joe's paperwork, it's something that I saw from Lisa a little earlier. I noticed the commercial auto insurance difference between the squad and the fire department. A reason for it? Cause I mean, those fire trucks are pretty expensive pieces to be 13,000 and change for the squad and 3,000 and change for the fire department. Is that number wrong on the fire department side, or is that accurate?
You mean on my list that I gave you?
Yes,
So these are just the insurance policies that you guys submit the invoice to us for us to pay. We never actually see the policy.
right.
So I can't even tell you which of your
So-
vehicles are on your policy.
All of our vehicles are on it. Are all your
What's that?
vehicles on the town's policy insurance?
On the
policy?
town's
No,
policy?
no, this is you.
No, two of them are, the brush truck and the Chevy pickup truck are on the fire company's policy.
Okay, yeah, but that's not a significant number that,
No.
I mean, there's $10,000 difference I saw.
Yeah.
And I kind of scratched my head as to, why
So
there's
just
such
to-
a difference.
Just to be clear, this is what I was saying, it would be good if like rescue and fire are both kind of responsible for paying those, you guys could then, research the best price. But the town just receives a copy of this invoice and we pay it.
Right,
We have no idea which vehicles, how many vehicles are on it. That's the policy that goes directly to rescue. That is not the amount we pay on our plan for you. Those are separate policies.
right.
Yeah, there's also your liability policy. The vehicles, the other thing is, is it because of the passengers? Those two trucks, the only truck listed or vehicle listed as a passenger vehicle is the chief's truck, which is owned by the town and on the towns. Because you carry and transport. When I renew, they do a questionnaire and they ask me, Joe, do you transport the public in your fire vehicle?
Right, no, I mean, it's certainly,
And
it's a question that I reached out to Gary about tonight,
Yeah,
and I'll certainly take a look into it.
is the squads more, is that what you're saying?
We have way more.
Oh, yeah, I got legal liabilities for you, that's fine.
Yeah,
So
but
this
that's
is-
just only on the auto policy, not necessarily the liability on the whole squad.
Yeah, but if you're in an accident with a patient in the back,
Yeah.
I think that's probably.
Yeah, maybe.
it's
This
the
is all
audit,
we
it's
get.
that.
So that's why I was wondering what this one is.
I would assume that's what it is, then the liability
Yeah.
policy would be the umbrella over that one. I
Yeah,
think
no,
about
like I said, I think it's because they got the public, they transport.
No, do you, like, when you hear me that, the policy.
Yeah, I'd like to see it
You got
a little bit more in depth on it.
They do shop. That's every year, they shop.
Oh, no.
They're the broker,
I did text you. Thanks.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Was
in the car. Sorry.
Your phone's in Florida. It's okay.
What's that?
Your phone's in Florida.
Not yet. More weeks. And then I'll be gone for three.
Note the record, Bill Kenneth has joined the table.
Better late than never.
Oh, you're not gonna wanna come back.
No.
No, I'm glad they're here.
No.
You do come back.
No way. Sorry about that, guys, so
That's a.
I won't ask you to reach out.
Joe said he'd just go over the whole thing again.
Well,
No problem.
it actually, it's pretty simple. Joe's not really asking for any increases.
No.
Other than for, salary concerns. And really the only thing that's really a major difference in not asking is, I think. When Joe and I discussed it, we're eliminating a week's worth of, crack car feeling, but Joe says we're pretty much caught up with that.
that, and I,
But we have a special project to do with that machine regardless this year.
with the sucker machine.
With the sucker
Yes,
machine
I
down in
eliminated
Kennedy.
A week of
We
that
gotta,
also,
we gotta
Yes.
bore through.
try to get through that
Concrete.
concrete, that storm drain pipe.
Apparently, we don't know if it was a sinkhole that was fixed from the builder or a homeowner
Right.
or whatever, but there's a catch basin that's been filled with concrete and
Nope.
line.
And the bit is over half of the cost of 1 week of
Right, so,
$2,400.
that's kind of subbing for the 1 week, but he says the crack filling wise, we're pretty
Caught up. I'm just
good
doing
shape,
little
even doing
maintenance
some of the
work.
newer roads, doing some, so.
Okay, so we're gonna start the police department, and while we're here, I guess we're done, Joe? Guess we're gonna have time to get into the, did you do the fire department too?
Yeah.
Gee, this is cool.
It was good.
Time flies when you're having fun.
He wasn't asking it that much, although the fire department was quick, but there's $500,000.
Yeah, there's a $500,000 ask there,
I
right,
did see
right,
that.
right.
So what was the outcome of of that, ladder truck?
Well, he's
Well,
asking in the budget, we haven't
Right, right.
discussed it, he just
Okay.
tells what he needs.
They just tell us.
Okay.
It's their wish list.
Yes,
Well, About it. Yay or nay.
okay. Please, huh?
Thank you.
Given it to us.
Huh?
They're punching out the records. too.
Oh. No, I can see who it was. Exactly.
We'll let Mary go.
Lisa, I know that you said John Mooney's not due out here till February 22nd.
I believe he's coming to the third meeting, if that's the third meeting.
I believe it was
I think
yeah.
that's right.
this week. Yeah, double check. The 22nd, I had told Lisa earlier,
Yeah, I
I'll be
believe
out of
it's
town, 22nd, but there's some. Key information that I'd like in advance of that if possible, and one of which is what's left in capital. And all that good kind of stuff. Cause I don't think there's much, because I think we needed to pull some.
Yeah, I think Shannon's gonna be able to provide you with a lot of that. We just have a few more entries to make, so
Okay.
she should be able to get that to you.
Alright, I didn't know if that was a John gig or whether it came right out of our own books.
Or
Yeah.
instead of giving you everything all at once, I'm just gonna kind of go sheet by sheet here. What you have in front of you is our salaries. One sheet is gonna be everyone's salaries. The holiday pay, the overtime pay, sick time, and your vacation buyback. This is what is going to be predicted for 2023. the salaries are what they are, they're what the contracts have for them. With the exception of the secretaries, which I moved that up a little bit from what the hours are established because of whether they're for extra hours handling things, being that she's part-time. So and basically how I came up with that, the additional figure is taking the overage of what was done last year and just applying that for this year, the number of extra hours worked. So the holiday pay is, I just added 4% than what was last year, basing that on the officers' increases. Last year we came in under what I had budgeted by a few thousand. Overtime, we came in under what was budgeted last year. It was budgeted, I believe, or no, I'm sorry, we were just over. I think we budgeted 140, we're at 144. So I just did the overtime by 4%. I don't anticipate it going up now. We are going to be going a whole year with an officer. However, I just use that number. Sick time buyback, I calculated at the officers that are eligible for sick time buyback next year. Honestly, I'd be one of them, but I will not be doing that anyway. So, fall. Is there any questions on any of those? I mean, the crossing guards that you kept it the same. We were way under budget for crossing guards because we're down a crossing guard. Fortunately, there was only, I believe, one shift where I had to, or maybe there's two shifts that I had to bring officers in to cover an overtime. Yeah, crossing guard posts. We were fortunate that we didn't have to pay overtime for crossing guards. So they kept that same. I've been trying to look at getting another crossing guard. I think I've done everything that I can just about. I took Paul's suggestion to go into the local coffee shops and posting hiring notices, and it's just no one can find crossing guards. It's very hard to fill. Was there any questions on the salaries? Okay,
One question,
yes.
what's the red? Why?
Those are the officers that are going to be increasing a step throughout their year.
Oh, okay.
So, basically for budgetary purposes, I just put it at what their increased step is, so there's no, I give Shannon a sheet of when that increase is going to be.
Okay.
It's towards the end of the year, so in a sense, it's kind of a little bit making the salaries a little higher, so we don't run into any problems at the end of the year. For the other sheet, which has got all those figures, I just had to talk to Shannon because when looking at what we expended last year in salaries, I have this year at lower, which I just can't figure out why that would be, because we're gonna have a full-time, their salaries went up and we have a full-time officer for the entire year, so I'll just have to figure out, because you'll see that it's apologize, can't really read it, but the top line on that sheet, we're at 1.446, and in 2022 we were at 1.453. So just have to figure that out. When you go down the line for operating expenses, I went through my lines for each thing in my budget for 2022. There was a lot of things that were put in charge to a different account than on the regular account, so you'll see a difference maybe in some, but it kind of all equal out. Just to let you know, in the end, I'd be asking for less than 2022. Reason being is a lot of charges on our went to our operating to upfit the vehicles. And there were vehicles from 2021 that we got late because of the shortage of vehicles. So we ended up having them, upfitted in 2022 and, another thing was I just got to talk to Shannon, our last vehicle purchase, we put in capital for 50,000. And that was supposed to cover the car and the upfit of it. And the upfit of it came out of my operating, which it should have came out of that capital, I believe. So we just gotta look at, seeing how to fix that. There's a lot of things that, we replaced last year that we're not gonna have to take care of this year, which, is a big help, including, finishing up the e-ticketing in the cars, the rifle racks that we replaced, so the equipment in the cars is pretty good. We just have one vehicle that, the camera in the car is, it's a little spotty, it's not working so great. Problem is, if I have to get a new camera, it's gonna be a pretty good amount of money. The, two of the cameras in the cars are past their, warranty. If I wanna up that warranty, it's a lot. It's quite a bit of money. Extending the, warranty for another 5 years is, $1,275. I didn't include that in my budget. The problem being is, we have body cams, which is great. But when the officer's driving the car, that body cam's covered by the seatbelt, but you can't mount it somewhere. If you mount it somewhere, the officer's gotta then remember to take that thing off, put it on his chest, if you got a call and whatnot, so, the cameras in the cars are, important, as well as the rear camera for the prisoners, so, I just got that figure late, this issue just happened up, I've just made aware of it, I believe a couple of days ago, so it was before I'd, put this budget together, so that's the reason why I didn't include it. I think I will, well, actually, going down the line with the operating, under the computers, I had put a note there, are 3 computers that we ordered last year. We don't have yet. And I had to talk to Shannon to see if there's still money in 2022 budget that I put aside for those 3 computers. Because we were, in our budget talks last year, I advised you all of our computers are, at the end of life, the department computers, the desktops. And we came up with the idea of, replacing 3 of them and they're replacing the rest the following year. So I'm hoping that there's money to at least place those 3 and then, I will provide a separate sheet here with the IT expenses of replacing 5 this coming year. The letter that we had gotten regarding that grant from the county expiring and then putting it on the police departments to pay for the $20,000 for the licenses for the computers in the cars that are going to be split amongst all the departments. I included that in the budget. That's $20,000 divided by 13, about $1,600 per department is how I read it. So I put that in the budget. And e-ticketing. So every ticket that we issue, we have to pay the company $1.50 from that ticket. So we got e-ticket late in the year. Our bill was only, I believe, like $250 last year. So next year I basically based our ticket numbers on an approximate amount and times that $1.50, and that would be increasing that to 3,000. I had to talk to Shannon, from my records, I think we're only on one lease payment now for a vehicle.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're down,
15,000. Oh,
15,000 from
Yeah.
that last one, so we got $117,000 payment.
Yeah.
For lease payments this year. All their other vehicles we own. Through, purchasing through capital and paying them all.
Will. So chief, on that licensing that you're gonna split between the 16 departments, should it go by how many licenses each department has instead of the number of police departments? Because there's a fee per license.
Yeah, but I think, let me see here.
You can look into that. There's no, you know,
Yeah, I believe there was something saying it didn't matter
okay.
how many, but, I'll look at the letter. We still have a meeting, among the chiefs to decide how we're gonna, boil it down. I mean, there's a possibility we may not pay anything. But, we're still in discussion of that, so, the numbers in there just, for worst case scenario.
Okay, or
Breakdown, large items.
that's an extra.
Even extra, that's where that extra. went. I need to check this.
Sure.
Okay, large items, I got some prices for vehicles. Again, if the replacing of the, I can't do this every year, replacing of a car would have to go under operating, can't put that under capital because it's not, doesn't have at least had the last 5 years, and they say SUVs are put under that, not cars. So I priced out SUVs. The Explorers did go up, however, they didn't go up as much as I thought compared to the Tahoe. I didn't really investigate any further on upfitting a Tahoe just because it is so much more money than the Explorer now. And because they did increase that, so I did price out the Explorer. And you'll see the figures there, the vehicle and the outfit cost approximately with a total figure of 55,000. I recommend again putting that into capital and doing that. Our two Explorers we have on a lot now are the 2017s. They both are over 100,000 now. They're the bulk of our vehicle maintenance budget. I would put into get 2 Explorers if possible. And as I said, they're listed, we're just our one lease payment. I kept on there the mobile signboard again, which got the range there 1416 if you want to purchase that. IT, I explained that our it has the breakdown of the numbers for the computers. I'm not gonna recite what's on there. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And you might ask why so much to configure and set up. A computer has to be configured and set up for all 13 officers so they can use it. And that's why it's that figure. And for instance, if to set it up with just one user, it's only 600, so it's a lot less. License plate reader. Or should I go into the IT now, or do you have a whole, at least a whole presentation for the IT, or?
No, I don't have a breakdown.
Okay, so Jean-Paul just provided me the quotes and whatnot for going forward. Our license plate reader server has reached its end of life, as well as our department server. So if we continue to use them and they go down, it's not gonna be an easy fix. Not that our information is gonna be gone, I believe, because that's mirrored and whatnot, but you'd have to get a whole new server in there and it's get it all configured and whatnot. The license plate server. My recommendation is not replacing it right now.
Well, I was just gonna ask you, not to interrupt, but how essential is that piece? I mean, you know, you see visually on the different things that, you know, it works, but how useful of a tool is it?
Oh, it's very useful, as far as, not just tickets. I mean, tickets, it's easy because they're driving down the road and that thing's scanning everybody that's unregistered and whatnot, but, the whole purpose of that is investigative wise. I mean, those are $13,000, I think, pieces of equipment on two of our cars. However, right now our server's working. It's working and we don't have to pay for a license. We don't have to pay for cloud storage or anything like that. Because we got it back before you needed a license for the software. If we do upgrade it, we have to get a license. And a license is about $4,400 a year. If the thing's working, like you said, great. It is an important piece of equipment, however, it's not more important than our actual departmental server that we need to, you know, utilize the computers and everything. So I would say it's more important to replace our departmental server first. I spoke to Jean-Paul about leaving it so we can add space to it if our license plate reader server goes down. My other thing is I applied for a license plate reader grant through the state last year. They haven't announced awards on that yet. And in that grant, I included the purchase of some stationary license plate readers throughout town. And then the monies to pay for 1 year cloud storage, which is $10,000. So the total grant is $90,000. Hoping I get it. If I get it, that solves a lot of the problems for this year and next year. Then we would just have to figure out with the server what we want to do. I don't suggest. I mean, 10,000. The cloud storage is $10,000 a year. That's a lot of money. That's why I would lean towards the getting the license. However, you would have to get a server. In that first year, yeah, it will cost over the 10,000 between the equipment, between the server itself, the setting it up, and the license. But after that, you'd only be paying the $4,400 as opposed to the 10,000 a year. It's just something I wanted you to be aware of. I know that the IT talk about everything is going to be quite a talk because there's other the township also, their server is expiring too. So I think it's something that everything's gonna have to be collectively used to make a decision on. So I'm just gonna provide you what Jean-Paul provided me the quotes with
The license plate reader is only in 2 vehicles though?
yes, right now. Additionally, today I just submitted for that school grant that I'm working on through the SROs with the school and whatnot. I submitted today for $10,000 reimbursement from that grant towards my salary. for working on that project, which I originally built into the scope of it, and sometime before I had to do quarterly financial reports with it, so I'll be also in my scope, I put in for an additional 20, so I'll be asking for 20, a total of 30,000 from that grant to go toward my salary for this, so hopefully it helps a little bit towards salaries and whatnot. And that was, I mean, that was already approved, it's just gotta go through the steps of filling out that paperwork and asking for reimbursement. And I think that is it. Anybody, any questions?
So the SRO, you're putting in for your reimbursement. When are we gonna get a body? Or two?
Whenever they tell me, there's about $100,000 that I put towards the SROs through that grant. It's in there and
So can you call them daily? Are you, you talking?
I'm emailing my project manager, yeah.
Okay. And they're waiting for somebody on the other one.
I don't know who approves it, if it's someone higher up than him. I don't think it's, I got his approval actually already. He gave me the approval, I get his approval first, then I send it, I put it in the system, and then I know somebody up in the
And that's for 1 year.
the SRO would be, no, it would be until September,
Is that September 1st or September 30th?
September 30th, I believe.
And is it a federal grant or is it a?
Yes.
It's federal grant.
Does that come every year or that's a one-time grant and then we would have?
I've never seen it before, and I didn't, I got this in 2019. I haven't seen this grant since then.
Is it Department of Homeland Security grant? I mean, who's the organization?
No, I believe it's, I don't. Let me see, I just submitted my financial reports today, and see it says there. No, I don't know, it's not. Can't retrieve that on my phone,
Okay,
but I can tell you tonight once I'm done.
just text it to me. And soon my government will be the one that property thing that. But anyway, getting back to this, you mentioned that it's like $600 an officer to set them up. Is that correct?
That's the number he gave me for labor test figure new lab, yeah, well. For the secretary, he gave me $625, which I think an officer would be the same thing, it doesn't matter, there's no difference between an officer and a secretary, but I believe. That is the case,
So,
and then for, yes, and I think he. Gave me, well, obviously. That figure is much less than what it actually should be if it was $625 per person.
It's gonna be a lot less.
Yeah,
I'm lost here. It's $625 per officer.
If you went for one.
Yes.
Instead of getting one computer set for one guy, you charge extra $625, going to 14 people for 2,600.
13, yeah, because Danielle's.
Okay.
Yes,
We have 13 officers, right?
yes,
That'd be
13.
14.
no, Danielle's on her, she wouldn't have to be set up.
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, I thought you said she had to be on, okay, like 13 for that, right? So what's 13 times 600 would have been? You know, 6, 7, yeah.
So I'm just a little, if I go to Baltimore or Brownsville, I just sit at any desk I want, okay? I plug in my password and user ID, boom. Isn't that how it works downstairs?
I couldn't give you the particulars of the
I'll talk to John.
computers.
Yeah.
But it's not, I guess it's not just signing onto that computer. It's the sign onto that computer, it's to set up so you can open your email on that computer, it's to link that computer to the our copier printer.
Should just link it to a main server, you know?
But it's,
Somebody's gotta be set up in your company or the system. You have an IT department.
Yeah,
Somebody's
but
gotta be.
I can't fathom them, you know, every time we get a new employee, it's costing our company $600.
If you have your own in-house IT guy, he'd probably just do it, you know? That's what I'm assuming. Somebody's gotta be doing it.
Right, right.
Cause you're accessing your own files and everything, right? I mean,
The setup fees and configuration fees just blow my
this is,
mind.
I would recommend that being all the IT stuff that's going on is have Jean Paul come in and any questions you can ask him right
He's
there.
good, but I talked to him, so.
Super nice.
And I know,
We'll have him up probably during one of these budget meetings.
questions?
New officer.
maybe.
No, for putting in for, you know,
Do I have anything? Are we done for tonight? Do you wanna ask any questions before you go here? Do you have anything you wanna bring up?
no, cause you know what, I'll look at the tape,
Okay.
you know, I don't wanna put you guys through,
You need to
the
go
30 minutes that I missed.
We're adjourned.
Does anybody have any
Paul,
questions?
do you have anything else? Anything else?
The general things that I sent you?
I did have an hour-long meeting with the superintendent today. And she was going over their budget needs. So, it's gonna be a interesting year for the taxpayers. You know, I'm saying. The only positive thing was that they made their last bond payment on the. We call it the new school, but it's 20 years old. But that's. No, did she bring that one? Well, there's 3 weeks over there, you know.
Okay. Are we looking for a motion to adjourn? Does anybody have anything else? Lisa, yeah, you good? Rich, you're done. Joe, you're done?
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Oh, do I need to open public comment?
There's nobody here. You can just acknowledge on the record that you're here.
Let's acknowledge on the record, there's no one here to do public comment. Okay, other than that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Anybody want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, the next meeting is.
Next Thursday.